Hi everyone, welcome back to this channel of crafting, crochet and knitting. My name is Nikki and welcome to my little yarniverse. So hello, how are you guys doing? How is your January going? Is it going well? I really hope so. I hope you settled back into work or just into normal life after the Christmas and New Year holidays. I'm doing well, everything's going okay, and I have been able to fit in a little bit of crafting. So most of my crafting has been a little bit Christmas centric simply because I had a lot of stuff left over in December that I wanted to finish, or I might have bought some things in the Christmas sales. So one of the first things I've done is finished the Christmas lights blanket. So I have just put this last surface slip stitch to complete the wire in there, making sure that I loop it every now and then so it's not super uniform. So really happy with that finish. I do still have some ends to weave in, but that's fine. I'll weave them in and then this will go away for next Christmas. I just wanted to finish it before it went away. There was no point putting it away with the rest of the Christmas decorations until it was finished. So really happy with that now. It's a really good size as well, actually, fits really nicely. And then I did mention that there might have been some acquisitions in the Christmas sales. So this is a little bit of a hobbycraft haul. I went on the lookout for some toy stuffing, couldn't find it in my usual shop, ended up in Hobbycraft and got 2 bags of this. It was all I was meant to go in for. Not what I came out with. So I came out with some fat quarters and some fabric because there was some on offer in the Christmas sales because they were trying to get rid of the Christmassy fabrics. So I picked up some plain white for lining because I did need some lining material, but I also picked up these far more adventurous Peter Rabbit Christmas themed fat quarters. So I did see this previously when I went into Hobbycraft and I thought about it, but then I saw there was only 4 in this pack, not 5 as is typical for some of the packs. I know that sort of cheaper materials to make, you can sometimes get even 7 in a fat quarter bundle for a similar price, but these are a quite delicate print and it's a branded thing with it being Peter Rabbit, so there was only 4 in this packet. So I didn't get it before Christmas, and then when I went in it was like half price. So bonus. This is really beautiful and delicate. It feels lovely as well. We've got Peter Rabbit sledding with his family, making a snow bunny, looking at robins, getting a tree. Really very pretty. We have got, just trying to fold it up nicely. I haven't decided what to do with these ones yet, actually. I want it to be really nice to display, but I haven't worked it out. So if you've got any ideas, do let me know. We've got this one here, so Peter with his presents. And then with a wreath, lovely snow background there, very, very Christmassy red in that one. Then we have another quite delicate one here with lovely wreaths circling Peter in his stocking and the family getting a Christmas pudding. So that's very pretty. There we go. See the full pattern there. And we have got this one, which is a lovely blue colour with snowflakes, and it's just Peter with his scarf and some robins, so it's a bit of a simpler one, but it's still very lovely. So that's the Peter Rabbit Christmas that I've got. I need to wrap the ribbon back around it. I'm very particular that when I haven't used my fat quarters, I need to make sure that I store them properly. And then another bundle I've got is not actually complete. There are 5 in this Christmas bundle, but I have made something. So I'm going to show you some of the fabrics and then we're going to cut away to some footage of me actually using the sewing machine for once and how well that went. And then I'll show you the finished product after that. So we have got some Christmas presents in this one. We have got what I can only presume is mistletoe and like evergreeny leaves, because that's not technically mistletoe, so mistletoe's actually got white berries, not red, but it's not holly, so I assume it's mistletoe, but it's a white background, so they've gone for red berries. We have got some Christmas lights matching my blanket there on this nice red background. I really like this and the other one with these really deeper Christmas reds and greens. Very pretty. And then, yeah, so you've seen this one now, just fir trees in that fabric there. Beautiful, beautiful colours. Like I say, one missing. You'll see that one in just a moment. But first, let's just cut away to some footage of me attempting to use the sewing machine. So now that I've got 4 rows of 4 squares, each of these squares is 4.5 inches by 4.5 inches, which means that they're 4 inches with a 1/4 inch seam allowance. So what I've really got to do now is to iron down those seams to give a really nice crisp join, and then we can start sewing each of the rows together. So with the rows, the important thing is just make sure those seams are really lined up. I've clipped them in place. Does make it a little bit fiddlier though, because you've got a longer piece of work, you're trying to keep everything flat, the clips are a little bit in the way. You could also use pins, but again they could get in your way. You just got to try and make the sewing machine go slowly. This is quite difficult as a beginner. It's kind of like learning to drive. You're kind of on that hill start and you're trying to make sure you're catching the bite, but you're not actually overshooting and revving the engine. There's definitely some practice involved. I certainly got the hang of it more towards the end of these joining pieces. The first one was okay. So the main thing is try and get those seams to line up. So some of them were lined up quite well, some less good. And then on the back there, where those seams we ironed down are, we want to try and keep them nice and flat. So some of them didn't go so great, others went okay. So definitely something with practice. So the slower that you go, the more control that you have over those edges when you want to try and make sure they line up going under the foot in the sewing machine. I'm also quite tentative as a beginner, so I'm really not getting my hands too close to that needle. It's kind of the thing that put me off sewing for ages with a machine. I just had nightmares about getting too close to that needle, but now that I've used it, now I'm a bit older, it's just one of those things where you just got to take care really, and if you take care it's perfectly fine. So enjoying using it more. And then once those rows are joined together, we're just going to iron down the seams again. So this is where going over the previous seams flat really helps, but unfortunately I did miss some of those, and that means that when I came to iron it down, I just kind of had to do the best I could to get as flat a seam as possible. So in the end, it seems okay, and I just gave it one final iron over the top as well, just to iron out any creases in the fabric when it was folded up in the fat quarter. So here we have the finished front of my cushion.
So, 'cause I know you love me, so I know you love me. So, 'cause I know you love me, so I know you love me. So, 'cause I know you love me, so I know you love me. So, 'cause I know you love me, so I know you love me. So, 'cause I know you love me, so I know you love me. So, 'cause I know you love me, so I know you love me. So, 'cause I know you love me, so I know you love me. So, 'cause I know you love me, so I know you love me. So, 'cause I know you love me, so I know you love me. So, 'cause I know you love me, so I know you love me. So, 'cause I know you love me, so I know you love me. So, 'cause I know you love me, so I know you love me. So, 'cause I know you love me, so I know you love me. So, 'cause I know you love me, so I know you love me. So, 'cause I know you love me, so I know you love me. So, 'cause I know you love me, so I know you love me. So, 'cause I know you love me, so I know you love me. So, 'cause I know you love me, so I know you love me.
So you will have seen it already, but here we have the last fabric, which was mostly used for the back. It's the only one of the fabrics that has a hint of brown in it with these reindeer, so I thought that it made the most sense to keep the white, green and red on the front and the reindeer on the back. So really happy with how this came out. I actually did make a mistake. I was going to try and do the reds going down this diagonal, sewed at the bottom wrong, ended up going down this diagonal, but oh well. I have kept this circular pattern, so everything's shifting over and everything's lined up on the diagonal. It's just my preference, you can do whichever you want. It's got this overlap here so that a cushion can go in it. I do have a picture of a cushion in it which I can insert now. But it was actually the inners for these ones, which is slightly too big, so it wasn't closing very well at the back. I do have cushions that are about the right size for this, but they're currently buried somewhere. So I will dig them out next year when it comes to actually putting this out, because obviously it's not going up yet. Kind of happy with how this went. We've got a few good joins and a few less good ones. But actually I was pleasantly surprised. I don't have anything for measuring the squares out fully, so I don't have any proper measuring equipment for getting it lined up, so already I'm quite amazed I was able to get it this square. But I also, I'm new to stitching with a sewing machine, so I can get a reasonably straight line, but not a spectacularly straight line, which is why I'm quite amazed with how well this came out. So in future maybe I will have a better join in each of the bits where it crosses over, but for now I'm really very pleased with how that came out. I don't think I could have done too much better as a beginner. So yeah, really happy with that, and that will also go away with the Christmas blanket for next year. I had hoped to use up a little bit more fabric. The goal was to kind of use some of the Christmas fabrics that I bought because they're currently taking up space in my sewing kit. But as you can see, I only used one full fat quarter and then just the bottom strip of 0.5 inches. So I've actually got 3/4 of a fat, of 3/4 of the other 4 fat quarters left. See if you can work out that much. I probably will work it out and stick it up here somewhere. But yeah, that's not bad actually to have a Christmas bundle and to get a lovely cushion cover out of it. It does mean that actually you could buy any fat quarter bundle which has 5 in it and be left over with this amount having made a cushion, and you could totally make other cushions as well. So I did think at one point that what you could do is potentially take the top envelope, so on the back, the envelope back, you could take the top envelope from one of the leftovers and then the bottom envelope from another and use those instead of using the 5th fat quarter, and then you could potentially mix and match them a little bit more so that they would go together. Even though these came in a pack, I think if I made another cushion out of these, I would always be questioning, okay, but why is there no reindeer in this? So I'm thinking of making something different. Maybe patchwork stockings, maybe just some nice cutlery rolls for the Christmas table. But yeah, that's how much I had left. So that's pretty impressive. So getting more into my sewing, let me know in the comments if you'd be interested in watching some sewing videos every now and then. I will be keeping things mostly crochet and knitting, but I'm definitely enjoying learning how to work the sewing machine. For me, it's important because each of the crafts I do, I have actually got ties to family members by doing it. So my granddad actually did a lot of drawing, so did my mum. With sewing, it's actually, the sewing machine is from my mother-in-law, which is a really lovely external tie there. My mum taught me how to sew just with a needle. My mum taught me to knit initially. My grandma and my mum both attempted to teach me how to knit some different stitches and I was failing miserably, but I still have that memory. So just all of these little bits and pieces. I've even got things like card making stuff that me and my mum used to do. So there's so much stuff that in my crafting links me to my family, and I really love that. So I would like to share some more sewing makes with you on the channel. I hope you're okay with that. Like I say, let me know in the comments. But I will be keeping this mostly knitting and crochet because I think I'm a lot faster at knitting and crochet still. I'm less practiced using the sewing machine. But yeah, I hope you've enjoyed this slightly different video, and yeah, see you in the next one. Bye for now.